Our next guest was first exposed to pornography at the age of 11 in a computer lab of his Christian school, which led to 15 years of addiction. Sathiya Sam now runs a ministry to help men break free of the addiction he struggled with for years. Thanks for joining us today, Sathiya. Pornhub reports that 120 million visits happen on their platform daily. What does constant consumption of porn do for someone internally?
Oh man, I mean, we could spend hours talking about that. The reason somebody watches pornography is always to meet an internal need. We all have needs inside, and it's our choice whether we meet them in a healthy way or an unhealthy way. Porn is obviously an unhealthy and destructive way to do that. So when you get your needs met by something destructive, it actually begins a cycle that is repeating, that increases, and obviously is just destructive in nature. So it becomes a bottomless pit real quick, and it can leave people in some pretty dire places.
This is a big problem within the church and religious communities. One estimate says that around 50% of pastors have struggled with pornography. 20% of women in the church are addicted to pornography. What is it about the church and its members being attracted to this? Obviously, it's a microcosm of a bigger problem, but how could the church really focus in on talking about this and being open about this?
Yeah, well, there's layers to this. I mean, you have this issue that is so taboo, it's so personal, and there's very few resources and outlets out there to help somebody get the help they want. But then often in a spiritual context, everything is managed or led by the senior pastor, the senior leader. And so in some ways that leader serves as the gateway for somebody to get the help or for a congregation to become informed on a subject. And when you have a statistic like 50% of pastors are struggling to begin with, then as a pastor, that puts them in an uncomfortable position if they have a struggle themselves. Like, do you still try to help them? But as a pastor, I can know firsthand, being a fourth generation pastor myself, you also have this implicit pressure that if you're going to talk about cleaning up an area of your life, you better have it cleaned up as well. You don't want to be that hypocrite on the stage. And so I think you have the taboo nature of the subject coupled with the fact that leaders are struggling and maybe don't really want to go there themselves, let alone for their congregation, that is creating sort of this echo chamber of people who are struggling and have no way out. It's really quite debilitating from a Christian perspective.
Yeah, it's a cycle of silence and secrecy. I want you to quickly talk about your ministry, Deep Clean, because you are now walking with other men in this journey of being clean from pornography. We only have seconds left, Satya, but just really quickly, I want you to talk about that.
Yeah, I made up my mind when I was starting to get free that I would one day get completely free and do everything in my power to help as many other guys as possible get free as well. So that's what Deep Clean is. It's a 7-stage program. It really just guides men through the same principles, tools, and concepts that I applied in my own life to get me free. And it's both research based, I have a background in sciences, but also scripturally based, being a fourth generation pastor. So it's a comprehensive approach to getting free of pornography long term.
All right, Sathiya Sam, thank you so much for your time today and for your story.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Maggie.